Yes.
Hi. Hi, I'm Krista Clapp. I'm Research Director for Climate Finance at CICERO, and I'm leading the ClimINVEST project. ClimINVEST is a research project that aims to improve our understanding of physical climate risk. We bring together climate scientists and investors to provide transparency on risk assessment and develop guidance to inform investors' risk management processes. We're trying to answer the following questions. How can investors better secure the value of their portfolios against physical climate risk? What physical climate risk require immediate attention from investors, and what information and data can investors use? Our international research consortium consists of partners across Norway, France, and the Netherlands, including CICERO, Wageningen Environmental Research, Climate Adaptation Services, I4CE, Météo France, and Carbon 4. We are a JPI climate project receiving funding through the European Research Area for Climate Services. As part of our work to provide guidance for investors, we've put together this series of webinars to dive into climate hazards and to present some case studies. Today's presentation is a real estate case study in the Netherlands called The Wall, presented by Montserrat Bouding-Polo and Felix van Veldhoven. Montserrat, please over to you.
Thank you, Krista. Hello, my name is Montserrat Bouding-Polo, climate resilience expert from Wageningen Environmental Research. Together with my colleague Felix van Veldhoven, climate adaptation and visualization expert from Climate Adaptation Services, we will present you our findings from the climate risk assessment of the shopping center De Wall in Utrecht, the Netherlands. There is an existing and growing body of scientific evidence demonstrating the financial implications that climate hazard has, like rising sea levels, flooding, extreme storms, drought, and heat waves, that have for the real estate sector. Flooding in particular can cause significant damage to and potential loss of physical assets like infrastructure, electrical facilities, and merchandise. Flooded roads, parking lots, and train lines can restrict customers' access to shopping centers, supplier delivery, or delay construction, thereby affecting revenue. The case study, the Wall Shopping Center in the Netherlands, demonstrates a high-level physical climate risk screening, and also some considerations that should be taken into account for a real estate asset. We assess the wall's exposure and vulnerability to 4 climate hazards to demonstrate what data is available and what is not for this type of assets. This will allow us to start a discussion with asset managers and owners about what science can and cannot do within the realm of climate change adaptation. With climate risk assessments, better decisions can be taken, like the type of construction materials, installation of technologies, or even how the real sector, logistics, and food sector can invest in adaptation measures in shopping centers. The climate risk scores in this study, such as low, medium, and high risks, are based on expert judgment. The Wall is a 65,000 square meter shopping center in the Netherlands. The building is located along one of the most important highways. The exposure of the shopping center depends on the location of the building, as well as on the probability and frequency of climate hazards. Assessing the vulnerability of the shopping center to climate hazards depends on factors such as elevation and placement of access routes, as well as technical characteristics of the building. Assessing vulnerability may be more challenging because of limited data on the technical characteristics of the building, including construction materials, energy performance and design, rainwater catchment systems, and insurance coverage. Now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague Felix so that he can explain in more detail the climate risk assessment.
Thank you, Montserrat. Thank you, Krista. My name is Felix van Veldhoven, and I will now show you the results of this physical climate risk assessment that we carried out for this Dutch shopping center, which is called The Wall, which you see on the screen right now. We visualized the results of this climate risk assessment through an interactive website, and by visualizing and mapping climate data and only showing indicators that are relevant for a real estate portfolio, we tried to translate the climate science into actionable information. So the aim was to show information that a decision maker in the real estate industry can understand and use for decision making. And here you see the wall located next to a major highway in the center of the Netherlands. Now, before I start, there's an important disclaimer to make. When we showed this website to the colleagues from the real estate service provider, we underlined the fact that this kind of analysis should be handled with care. National level climate data can be used to analyze climatic trends, but they are not meant to be used at asset level. Now, often the actual damage to a real estate asset as a result of extreme weather depends on location-specific characteristics. So, for example, does the asset have critical systems in its basement? Or are there any cooling systems in place? Or is there a backup system for the power supply? So it will be impossible to answer those kinds of questions based on global or national level data. And when assessing climate risk, having adaptation policies and protection measures in place might outweigh the exposure to hazards. However, this website does give a first indication of possible risk in order to raise awareness and get the conversation started. And the users can navigate around and zoom in and take a look at their assets. In this case, this shopping center. So the map you see right here shows a worst case example of multiple dike failures in the Netherlands. The probability for this kind of flooding is estimated at once every 100 to 1,000 years. And towards 2050, it is estimated that this will be once every 1,000 to 10,000 years. So the probability decreases, which is because of large-scale dike improvements that have been planned since 2017. And as you can tell from the legend that you see here on the screen, for the area around the wall, the maximum flood depth is estimated at about 0.5 meters. Up next is pluvial flooding. So here you see the possible impact of extreme rainfall. Climate change is expected to increase both frequency and intensity of extreme rainfall events. This map shows the maximum water depth after a 2-hour downpour of 70 millimeters of rain. So a really extreme rainfall event. And the probability for such an event is estimated at once every 100 years, which will increase towards 2050 to once every 50 years. And the water depth around the wall is somewhere between 20 to 30 centimeters of. Now the last example is about soil subsidence, which is related to drought. Drought may have an impact on the soil structure in the presence of peat or clay, which is really common in the Netherlands. And when land subsides, the structures built on foundations don't. So these movements can cause large damages to buildings. Also, damage as a result of flooding may increase. This map shows the expected soil subsidence in centimeters for the period until 2050, when no additional adaptation measures are being taken. For the area around the wall, this is estimated at 20 to 40 centimeters. And an additional 5 to 10 centimeters of subsidence may occur as a result of increasing temperature. So this concludes my demonstration. If you have any questions about it, just shoot us an email. Now back to you, Montserrat.
Thank you, Felix. I would like to mention that the data used for the WAL's climate risk assessment is available for free at the Climate Impact Atlas for the Netherlands website. The climate risk assessment of the WAL Shopping Center gave a first indication of the possible climate risks. Since physical climate risks have a direct impact on assets at the local level, a tailor-made approach was considered to examine the specific geographic and climatic conditions of the area. This case study provided a better understanding of the implications of different climate risk scenarios. And as a next step, we aim to stimulate the real estate sector as well as the asset managers and owners to plan better investment strategies towards climate change adaptation. For instance, one of the strategies for climate adaptation could be investments done at an early stage through precautionary actions. These investments may reduce the frequency of future interventions in assets and make buildings more resilient to climate hazards. This may include no-regret strategies that bring benefits even in the absence of the future climate change. Infrastructure and policy measures can help reduce vulnerabilities for buildings in disaster-prone areas. In the case of the WAL Shopping Center, climate-smart infrastructure and upgraded policies on flood risk management are protecting not only the building itself, but also the whole region against moving flooding. Revitalization and retrofitting of existing shopping centers infrastructure could help to prevent future asset losses due to climate impacts. Real estate assets can increase their resilience to drought and heat stress by adapting to appropriate building codes or applying building regulations, depending on the local climatic conditions. For instance, shopping centers have the potential to use water and drought-resistant construction materials. Likewise, the Wall Shopping Center has the opportunity to invest in green infrastructure within and around the building by making architectural adjustments and technical solutions that could integrate nature in the building. This way, the co-benefits offered by such green infrastructure could help reduce drought and heat stress risks. To conclude, I would like to mention that in the Netherlands, many real estate developers are complying to the new building regulations on nature-inclusive design, which aims to include more biodiversity in the city and stimulate real estate sustainable projects. We were glad to show you our findings on the WAL's climate risk assessment. We would like to underline that there is no silver bullet when carrying out climate risk assessment for the real estate. So please, if you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for your attention.